gentlemen, this will be the entertainers competition as authorised by the Bards Guild and Grandmaster Twigspitter and Guildmaster Talrasher. We are gathered here at the Gardens of Nara in Nihon. So I suppose I should say to you, Konnichiwa, dozo yoroshiku. Somebody's got it. We have a massive list of amazing entertainers and fantastic bards. But first, before I do any of that, the reason I am standing up here is because we have lost a fantastic bard, Taglio, who should be up here comparing this as Master Entertainer. We have a new Master Entertainer, Reagan, who has asked me to compare. But if he can take a minute and remember Tag, his rude ways, his terrible dancing steps on the battlefield, why he wanted to dance during battle, I will never have any idea. But he did. So, you'll be competing for 5 amazing prizes. 5? An amulet that allows you to get back up again on your own without any help. An amulet that will stop you being drawn to the sound of someone's voice. And an amulet that will tune itself and its power to you and allow you to find out whether something is ancestral, elemental, unliving, and something else. Demonic. But if you yourself, somebody tries to look at your pattern, you have to reply with Master Entertainer 1117. We also have the One to Watcher prize, which is named for a dragon bard who fell. I will be tutoring whoever wins that prize in whatever they wish that I can teach them. And we also have the Taglio Gaselli Memorial Prize, which will be paid for from the Bards Guild Gold Fund. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome to the stage a gentleman who entered the competition late, but is no the worse for that. His name is Veris, and he will be telling us some history. Master Veris.
Greetings! I hope you can all hear me. Excellent. How many of you here follow an ancestor? How many of you here know where that ancestor came from? How many of you here follow Hearn? I like you. The reason I ask is because all too often people bow the knee to ancestors whom they do not know. They do not understand. Understanding is useful. I have spent much time on Varath digging through ancient ruins, and I came across a story which I will relay to you of the origin of an ancestor. Hearn was a human, a ranger, a huntsman, a proud man. He was accomplished. He could shoot a bow with speed and accuracy, so much so that another archer could fire the arrow and he would pin it through the middle before it had hit its target. With such skill, and dare say it, probably a little bit of handsomeness, his ego grew, as men often do. They get very prideful, they boast. It wasn't helped that people would come and say, "Oh, Hearn, have you heard of this wondrous beast?" And they'd make up these stories and he'd go, "I will go find it." And he'd drag the carcass back to the Imperial Court to show them how good he was. The problem with pride is usually it takes a fall. The problem with Hearn is he never fell. The problem with this is that where one rises, where one shines, other people, lesser people, Lorien Green. These people didn't want to just take Hearn round the back of a tent and open up his guts. They wanted to humiliate him. They wanted to bring him low. So they plotted. How could a man who could stop anything, how could a man who could find anything be brought low? Well, you don't look to a man, you don't look to an elf. You look to an ancestor. So they called on Puck. And they explained the hubris of the man who stood in the imperial court and said, "No being, no elf, no spirit can best me at the hunt." And they said to Puck, "This Hearn needs to be brought low. He needs to understand his place in nature because he doesn't." And Puck went, "Really? That sounds interesting. Allow me to examine the situation." So Hearn, one day, with his followers and his conspirators, whom he thought were friends, were out on a hunt, and they saw a majestic white stag. How many of you are hunters? So, 32 points on an antler. You know how big I'm talking. For those of you who don't, this is the kind of thing you could stick your house on the back of and ride around in comfort. They chased the stag. Hearn was told, "You're the one who can do it," and the conspirators followed. One by one, his friends couldn't keep up, but the conspirators stayed. And eventually Hearn went, "No." He stopped, and the stag stopped. He stopped the chase, and the stag came back. And Hearn said, "I know when I've been beaten. I know when I am not good enough. I know when I am humbled in front of nature." And the stag went, "Because it takes quite a bit for Puck. Anyone who's worshipped him will understand this greatly." And Puck was impressed with this man's humility. The conspirators, on the other hand, were not. They wanted to see him brought to his knees. They wanted to see him cry. They wanted to see him embarrassed. So they lost their rag. They didn't see green anymore, they saw red. They beat Hearn to the floor. They kicked him, they punched him. They put a rope around his neck and they dragged him to a tree. They hung him until he was dead. And as all white-hot rages come, they go. And these people realized what they had actually done. Ashamed, they swore never to speak of it again. And they ran back to the imperial court. Oh, there had been an accident. He had not been good enough. The stag had got him. But Puck is not one to be tricked. He doesn't like it. You don't trick a trickster. He woke up to Hearn with the rope around his neck and thought, pretty sure this was not how it ended. And there stood the stag in all its glory. You knew when you were wrong, you knew when you were beat. I know when I was wrong. I was brought out to humble you. And you were humble. They didn't want to prove to me or to you that nature is more powerful than any hunter. They wanted to be, they were bitter, they wanted to hurt you. That's not what this was about for me. I do not understand how humans and humanoids can hate, how they can hunt by hate and not for food or defense. I do not understand, but you are human. You understand. You will be my hunter. Do you agree? And Hearn went, well, a few minutes ago I was hanging by my neck until I was dead. Not really going to be a thing I'm going to say no to. So he agreed. And a pact was sealed. Hook couldn't hunt humans, but now he didn't need to. Every single one of those conspirators suffered strange accidents over the next 2 years. The last one, an entire party of hunters fell into a pit of spikes. Apparently only one of them got hurt. It doesn't take a genius to know what he was doing. The others managed to avoid the spikes and were helped out by a passing hunter who had a rope. He pulled them out of the pit because Hearn is a discerning hunter. His target and his target alone is the one that falls. The Hearn's reputation grew, and with it grew faith. Sometimes people prayed to Hearn for help, for need, for food, and he answered. When people were hungry and starving in the winter, they'd come across packets of food, and people thanked Hearn. And thus belief grew, power grew, and Hearn as a hunter was not just a weapon. He was not just retribution. Hearn was an ancestor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was going to make a terrible joke. I'm not going to.
Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it!
It appears it's not only the alchemists who have seen a dragon's G-string this weekend.
Wait, I get it! That's good.
Can we welcome to the stage the beautiful, wonderful sound of the Viper Strawberry?
Hello everyone, you've probably seen me before. Yeah, it's me again. And this time, I have written a song like last time, but it's for my best friends that are sitting there. But ever since I met you, I've had a confidence that I never had. I bet to walk on stage, sing and do some stupid things, some really, really stupid things. You've been with me every single step of the way, picking me up and sometimes setting me straight. The memories I've had have shown not to lifetime. You've been great, and I think it's about time. I said thank you for your smiles, thank you for your tears, thank you for when it's been bad, didn't cover your ears. Thank you for the cover I've been given in the guilt, and thank you for every day that's been filled. You, let's do it.
now. That was fantastic. So, following Strawberry's amazing song, we have a gentleman who is down in our guild as Victus, who is going to sing a song, but I'm afraid I don't know your faction. People need to provide bios. People need to know who you are. Victus,
I'm
everybody.
a wandering bard who's lost his voice over the weekend.
A piercing check.
That better stay with it. Some of you probably heard me out in the field. I've been battle musically for people, and I have horribly lost my voice. As you can hear. So I do apologise. But I won't be hitting any high notes today. Not that I could anyway. The song doesn't really have a name, but yeah, hope you enjoy. We'll work it out for you. Good idea. Oh, that's good. Sun goes down somewhere. I can smell it on the coast. How long will we have to walk before we get home? And will my favorite drinks for local law still taste the same? Well, waiting there for me. Night comes down upon this world, and now I am hungry. They say the ogres will be popping up next year, and I say let them laugh all that they like. I'll keep talking 5 or 10 years still to come, and 50 years on if I'm here with you. Night comes down upon the earth, and now I am hungry. Well, rain may fall, and storms may come, and the spirits may fall. So let's go home, can't stop us. Nobody has the right to stop us. I meant to whistle here, but my voice is not letting me do that. Just think of a really good solo, or a whistle solo. And maybe next time, when I can actually talk, I'll do it for you guys. Night comes down upon this world, and now I am hungry. Night comes down upon my old world, and now I am hungry. La 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 la, da la da 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 da.
That slightly goes wrong, stand in their way. It is a lesson that we can all take home, whether we're on the battlefield or whether we're barding or whatever we're doing. It's something that I've always had problems with, making stuff up on the fly. Obviously, Victus does not, and that was really funny, fantastic. I've seen people's hats fall off mid-song, I've seen capos spring off guitar. One really unfortunate occasion, I've seen someone's ears fall off. That wasn't good. Healer. So, following Victus, we're going to have what I've been told is a very short piece. I don't know whether that means lots of dwarves or lots of gnomes or what, I don't know. Will you welcome to the stage the recorder stylings of the Volsums?
He's very far away.
Yes, short in stature and short in length. We're part of the Volsons of the Wolves. We're very new to barding. We've never performed. Not to a crowd like this. It's not a piece that we've written. We're not good enough to do that. But it's an old piece from a long time ago. It's called The Black Knack. Whoa.
We need more traditional instruments in this game. That was awesome. And I don't want to hear anybody say, I am not as good a bard as XYZ because I didn't write what I'm playing. If you are getting up here and you're playing something, it doesn't matter whether you wrote it or not. It doesn't matter whether you nicked a tune off another bard and you put your own words to it. We want to hear it. We love this kind of thing. It's why we do it. So, following that, we're going to take a break, I think, from the music, and we're moving on to art with a performance. Performance art, possibly. Sorry,
there is no excuse for intensive dancing. Words.
Interpretive dance!
Inappropriate dancing.
Hello everyone! As some people are already aware that I come off the stage, I like to do odd things, a little bit different. Sometimes I'll have a song that I've just made up. Once last year I asked the audience for words and made up a song on the spot. Today though, I'm going to talk to you about what happens a little bit after the pattern unfortunately unravels. As you're all well aware, you would hope and you'd pray that you go to your ancestor you pray for. And this generally is the case as long as nothing interferes. Now, this leads on to life in general. When you do good things, you do bad things. Everyone has a mix of these. You can't live a perfect life. You're always going to make a mistake. But as everyone is also aware, karma doesn't really affect everyone equally. Life is unfair. You can have someone who has done incredibly bad deeds and someone who has tried to be as righteous as they can, and still, when they come off the cliff, they fall at the same speed. I have a few items here to demonstrate this phenomena. First, I have a lovely, just normal pebble. This natural, doesn't do anything. This one, exactly the same, but it's had a little bit of negative energy sort of put into it to affect this next item. And here, I have something called Well, it's actually a Fleming's tube, as they call it, and it will create a Fleming's field when it senses the negative energy passing through. What this demonstrates is, once you pass on, your journey to wherever you go is filled with horrors and darkness and hatred and everything like that that's there. But those who are righteous and those who have not done bad and not weighed down by their bad deeds that they've done, they will literally just go straight through and not feel any of this. But those who have suffered or caused suffering may find that they will linger longer and have to go through this journey and feel their suffering poured back onto them tenfold. I'll first show the judges that there is no foul play in this. As you can see, it is a plain tube. Nothing in there at all. It's got a few markings on. That is a few runes that makes it possible. And if you'd like to feel the weight of those two, can you tell me what's the weight in either of them? Which one's heavier?
Let's put it in the judge's paws. It's not a great start.
You find the black one's a bit more heavier there? So you find that being the black one a little bit more heavier, firstly, I try and drop them at the same speed. They both drop similar speeds. I'll try and do it without trying to catch, just drop them to the floor. So as you watch, see which one drops to the floor first. About the same, it's very hard to tell. Good person, bad person jumps off a cliff at the same time. They're going to both go flat and bottom about the same time. Fate may intervene, karma doesn't always do that. Now, the black one's going to be the hardest one to spot. Should have watched where it went, found it. Now, here's the thing. This being the journey. The white one, straight through. Say that. The one that has caused suffering, negative energy in this case, I'm going to drop it. It should go straight through, really. You see? Would you like another demonstration to prove that if I do it the other way round, it's still going to do the same? He said go on again. We got to do it. We're all bars here. As you can see, I've got to put it through as well. Nothing there. I've even tapped this on the top. And that is why you will find that bad people believe, doesn't really matter, I'll get away with it. They might do in this life, but they're going to suffer a lot in it. So try and do the best you can. Thank you very much.
Woods and a fire source.
We'll be burning art later. This is a lady who needs no introduction, but she's going to get one. She's known far and wide through Dragonlands for her superb voice. She's also known for her amazing tracts of land, and she's known for being the mistress of minstrels. I give you the lovely Gwen.
I do indeed have tracts of land, that is very true. They're all in Barkham and they're all full of mad people, but never mind. Okay, so I'm going to sing you a little song. Now, lots of songs out there about brave and noble adventurers, the young, the fit and the healthy, but some of us are pushing it on a little bit and wondering what happens on the other side. So I'd like to sing you the ballad of Mildred and George. Said Mildred to George, I'm so terribly bored. What shall we do today? Let's get out of the house, said her long-suffering spouse, and let's go adventuring away. Okay. Well, where shall we go and what shall we do? Adventuring's a young man's game. Well, now that's where you're wrong, said George, in his chainmail thong. Well, if you've got it, you've got to flaunt it, let's face it. The principle's exactly the same. For the children have flown and they've left us alone and we've got no bills to pay. We could take down a dragon, or we could burn down a tavern. What do you fancy today? So they locked up the doors and the windows as well, so security is definitely key. And when you're that old, you've built up enough capital, you don't want to kind of lose it by somebody raiding your house. And they went to a bar that isn't too far, because again, old bunions, it's a little bit painful, you know. And they offered to adventure for free. Well, the patrons, they stared at the elderly pair, but each was determinedly keen. And they first took commission on a dragon-slaying mission, sold to them sight unseen. And when they were there at the scaly beast's lair, the matter was solved easily. For the reptile had arthritis from mouldy cave detritus. Gotta get something for that kind, come on. And so was dispatched easily. Next was a horde of goblins, of course, dispatched with a nice cup of tea. Mildred knitted them sweaters, which made them feel better, and so they agreed all to flee. So that seems to be the solution, if I knit you some sweaters, yeah?
Yeah, we love it.
Hey! And the years they rolled on, Mildred and George carried on, both in inappropriate armoured attire. And as far as I know, they're still laying foes low, because old adventurers never retire. So a lesson I'd learned from this geriatric turn: it's never too late to chase dreams. So those of you who've joined us as a slightly older persuasion, the more mature of us amongst us, it's never too late. And you never know, when older you grow, you won't necessarily be a has-been.
Gwen has an awful habit of knocking the nail on the head at the time. Following that, I'm not sure how you do follow that, but it's fallen to a gentleman called Horatio who has a song for us. Is he here? Horatio?
Get on the stage.
No?
Horatio.
We're moving on. We'll put him back in if he turns up later. That's a Horatio. Horatio. Right. Is there a poet called Quex here? Yes. Quex, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there, lovers of literature.
Alright.
I'm here to give you a few of my little orcish verses here.
I love you, Grex. Oh, that's awesome.
I know you do, everyone does. Start with one that I call Race War. There's a shadow on Erdrea, a horrible malaise. They say there'll be a race war one of these fine days. I don't want to see a race war, because lots of folks might die with a spear that gets shoved through them, or an arrow in the eye. I don't want to see a race war. Please don't let one begin. But if there is a race war, the Orcs are going to win. Thanks. And this one's a new one that I've not done before. It's called Ask an Orc. If you've got a thief or a rascal you want caught, if you're scared that someone's loyalty's been bought, if you've got a job that must be performed with total trust and to fail would be a bust, ask an orc. If you've got gold you want kept secure, if you need a thug whose reputation's sure, if you have a need that's pressing to teach somebody a lesson, but with absolute discretion, ask an orc. If you want to hear some good dirty jokes being told to you by non-human folks, or if perhaps you're thinking that you'd like to do some drinking and get probably stinking, ask an orc. And if you should find yourself up the creek and your prospects of survival look bleak, if you're in so tight a spot you need all the friends you've got, who's the closest of the lot? Ask an orc. Thank you. Time for one more?
Good things going, 3.
Yeah. All right then. This one is called Green. Just green. It isn't easy being green. I'm often told that I'm unclean, should hide myself behind a screen or throw myself down a ravine. Some people always act so mean. They often call out words obscene like ugly mud or run a bean. Or say I smell like a latrine or like a very old sardine. It's just a part of my routine and has been since about 14. And who will ever intervene for me when haters all convene? I scare the kids on Halloween. Nobody praises my cuisine. It's not on sale in the canteen. To eat it, nobody is keen. If only I were tangerine or possibly aquamarine, my life then might be more serene. But then I think of things I've seen and all the places I've been. How I've served Albion's much missed queen while fighting monsters unforeseen and writing poems in between. It makes me want to sit and preen or bang upon a tambourine. So, to you all upon this scene, who listen to me vent my spleen, I say, it's awesome being green. Thank you.
I've been told that Quex is the originator of the Orcish Poetry Slam, which sounds quite violent, but then poems by orcs, I would imagine, probably would be. Our next act, I've never seen on stage before. I don't know whether any of you have, but I'd like you to put your hands together for the splendid, the secretive and the sparkly Sienna.
We also have a Lester Jester. Part of the act, be my guest. So, I'm going to do a bit of singing for you. It's a song that I'm pretty much dedicating to my ancestor. So what really need to say? We're not going to lose. It's here. We're not going to lose it. We're all good. Yeah?
Sorry, you have to work with these amateurs.
Little babe watching the camera. Yeah, no, we don't do
Not this night, you will not go astray. No shadows fall, still the stars find their way away from quiet the whispering of the wind. Awaken as the silence grows in the solitude of our lives. Darkness spreads throughout the land, and your weary eyes open silently. Sunsets have forsaken all the most far-off horizons. Nightmares come where shadows grow. Eyes closed and heart beats slow. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. Though shadows fall, still the stars find their way, and you can always be strong. Lift your voice with the first light of dawn. God is just a heartbeat away. Hope is just a sunrise away. Distant sounds of melodies calling through the night to your heart. Auroras miss and echoes dance in the solitude of our lives. Pleading silent arias, gently grieving in captive misery. Darkness sings a forlorn song, yet a hope can still rise up. Nightmares come where shadows grow. Lift your voice, lift your heart. Fear not this night, you will not go astray. No shadow
First of all, I'd like to set this poem in a little bit of context. A few years ago in Chetonia was a noble house called the Von Becks. And amongst the Von Becks was the most beautiful creature that never breathed. Her name is Freya Von Beck, and she was my fiancée, my bride-to-be. Now, the House of Von Beck committed treason, and rightly so, they were put to death. And Freya was given the choice to denounce her house and live, or to accept that she was part of the house even though she had not committed any crimes, and to die with the rest of her house. And so she broke off our engagement before going to her trial and being executed. I respect her decision, but it broke my heart. And I wrote this poem to try and help me deal with that loss. I call it Freya Von Beck. I offered up my heart to you. You reached out and accepted it. But when I offered up my life, you faltered and rejected it. You shook the earth, opened my eyes with honesty and openness, and changed the shape of all my dreams, but leave me now in hopelessness. The love you had for me gave way. You put your family before my heart, now fallen from your grasp and broken, it bleeds on the floor. How could you love and walk away? How could you bear for us to part? How could you say you care for me and choose to abandon my heart? Why did you give your life for them and leave the life we could explore? And turn your back on what we had? I thought our love was worth much more. I cannot see a life ahead when dreams aren't dark and tears don't flow. My life is bleak and dark and cold, a coffin buried in the snow. I sleep now as under a spell. From poisoned chalice I did sup, and never more will I awake. No kiss will come to wake me up. This tale is not from fairy's pen. No happy endings wait for me. No joy, no love, no tenderness. I am not lost in fantasy. The story must come to a close. And now is time to say goodbye. Goodbye to one, goodbye to all. And so I pass, and so I die.
Tale of doomed love, well told. I'm used to seeing this next name with the word violin written next to it, so I'm wondering whether it's the same person. Have we got Ben on guitar?
Yes, we do.
Woo! It is the same person. He's branched out. while since I was about Ben's age, and I still can't finger pick. So when they start doing it that young, it makes you worried. Following Ben, we've got 3 more acts. Then we're going to take 5-10 minutes so people can go and get a beer, so Reagan can go and use the litter box, whatever else we want to do. We've got a gentleman called Garen with a song.
Bear with me. Pardon me. Excuse
Oh, it's
me.
another short act.
Room for a little one. Room for a little one. I'm really in your face. Oh, well, I'm about to take things a little bit dwarf, and this is a song about that special dwarven lady in your life, or at least trying to find her. So fine, she'll have the donkey skin from all the coal she'll mine. A sexy woman lady would be so sublime, and her beard would be better than mine. Yes, her beard would be better than mine. There's something else I want, let me make this clear. I want a little lady that can handle a beer. I want a little lady not affected by beer, and a belly that's bigger than mine. Yes, her belly that's bigger than mine. Bear with me. There we go, that's much better. I want to stop the lady to give her a thrill. Here's what have a lot, if she's got her own will. I would give her one, but I don't have that skill. And her axe is bigger than mine. Yes, her axe is bigger than mine. Without a mini lady, I was so alone. No one here beside me when I'm mining stone. I would comb her back when we're sad at home. I could teach you how to play the dwarf trombone. I could teach you how to play the dwarf trombone. One a short last, it's a D&D. One a short last, that's 4-4-3. That way she's just a little taller than me. With a belly that's bigger than mine. With a belly that's bigger than mine. I'll take any woman, lady, hey, what can I say? I will try to please her in every way. As long as she doesn't have disease or decay. With hands that are rougher than mine. With hands that are rougher than mine. I want a little lady to feed me meat. She can tell me all about all the things. I want a little lady who knows what I do. With a voice that's deeper than mine. With a voice that's deeper than mine. I want a woman lady and I can't wait long. Wait a minute, I think there's something wrong. I think I just described the man of the song. Oh, that's why his beard would be better than mine. Why his beard would be better than mine. Why his codpiece is bigger than mine. Why his beard would be better than mine.
If there's anybody out there with knowledge of single dwarven ladies, all the dwarven ladies, go and speak to Garen. Or if there's anybody with experience of writing, for example, a marital questionnaire. Anybody at all? This next act is, again, it's more of a performance rather than singing or telling a story. Is Ziploc the magician out there? No? Disappeared. No, he's not here. Okay, we'll put him in later if that happens. In which case, this is the final act before the interval. And what an act it will be. Will you please put your hands together for, for the dynamic duo, the Goblins of Grandeur, Granny and the Boon.
Yeah, look it up. It's got like I planned to have like a whole act of cheating and putting my face on and stuff, so this has already gone terribly wrong. Hang on, we're going to play a little cheating song.
You might as well nick a table, chair.
Yeah, that chair. You want the phone? Yeah, give it forward. Get it forward.
Everything forward. I don't know why.
Is that alright? Is that nice? Yeah, close enough for jazz. Do I have to play jazz? It's going to ruin our act. Where is it? Right here.
Sorry, we thought we had another extra tune up at stage.
Damn you, Ziploc or whatever your name is. Your heresy, you get your tunes. After the G.
Maybe.
That's good enough. Alright. Hi. Hey, talking to us. This is Granny. I'm Boondoggle. Goblins. Everyone likes this. This is weird. I'm uncomfortable with this. Did someone shout abuse at us or something? Get on with it. This is a song about goblin life, the reality. We're in a wellspring of reality, so we thought that we'd bring you a song about reality. That's pretty deep. I just made that up. I'm impressed with myself. Are there any watchers here?
Oh, get on with it.
Shut up! Who are you? I've never heard of you! Alright, we need a song now. That's the shit. That's better. Yeah, you can on. That'll do. I was born as a goblin. I'll die as one too. This story is tragic and sad. For the life of a goblin is not very nice. In fact, it's particularly bad. The ladder of life is a symbol of hope for all those who can climb to the top. But so many successes are born on the backs of the goblins, stuck down in the slop. It's horrible down there. Where would the heroes of legends all be without goblins to slaughter with impunity? And just how would they reach the requisite experiences to fulfill their profound destinies? The heroes are treated like kings of the world, but the goblins are jesters and fools. The life of a goblin is cruel, so cruel. The life of a goblin is cruel. Tempo change! Give me the clapping! Here we go, it's better! Okay, quiet down, we've got some talking to do. It's better, yeah. We're gonna lay you some proper trees down now.
It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be fast, it's
Exactly,
gonna
we
be...
hope you're ready for them.
It's gonna be flavored.
Right, you can start clapping in the beat whenever you're ready. Are we ready? We good? We good? Right, here we go. Well, the watchers all hide a dark secret, so we're gonna start whistle blowing. Cause the ritual circles
Don't light up by magic. It's goblins that keep it all glowing.
they're all chained underground and they turn a big wheel so people can see when the circle is sealed. They only get fed on a horrible gruel. The life of a goblin is cruel, so cruel. The life of a goblin is cruel. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Here's some more trees for you.
You exposed by all of your armor from traders like Ducklight and Chow.
And it's all very reasonably priced there. But did you ever stop to think how? There's hundreds of goblins all slaving away, making a change for a copper a day.
And they're not even given
inappropriate taunts.
Oh.
Is that used earbuds?
Oh. Sticks. The hands of other mutilated goblins that have lost their hands.
Life of the
goblins cruel, so cruel. The life of a goblin is cruel. When you've been fighting your battles all day, who do you think drags the corpses away? We're so quiet and stealthy you never would know. Yeah! You see in your faces you're really haunted by this reality. There's no way of laughing at our pain. What have you lost?
Drink.
You lost your drink? That's harsh. There it is.
I'm gonna go one last horrible truth. If you've eaten recently, you might want to leave a tent because this one is nasty.
It's true, it's not a nice one.
Alright,
You ready? Alright. When you hear the calling of nature, you visit the square shrine of Lou.
and by now you can probably imagine how they really get rid of the poo.
There's a whole bunch of goblins stuffed in a wagon. They suck even more than the king of the dragon.
They were fed on a horrible gruel.
Yes, when you're a goblin, your tears fall like rain. So please make a donation to lessen our pain. Yeah! We'd like to have cash, but we'll also take two.
First prize at the basket competition for instance. Notes, underwear, used or new, I don't mind.
What is it?
Ready. Let's get it. Right, ready. Look how cruel it is.
Get the money! Unless you're as awesome as King Twix Bitter, who's sexy, majestic and cool, and wealthy and generous. Spacious? Not a house. Well situated and in a good mood.
I feel very, very, very sorry for whoever has to follow that when we open the second act. We're going to take 5 minutes so that Reagan can use the litter box, so that Hazel can go to the bar and get more whiskey,
I'm drinking a slushy.
A whiskey smash.
and so that you guys can talk amongst yourselves, go to the loo, come back, do whatever you need to do. We will start again here in 10 minutes' time.
Right.
Well, guess what, Moira?
Hi!
Welcome to the stage, Sister Moira Gray.
I'm not entering the competition because I'm a judge, and that would be like twig levels of egotism. Not entering. So, earlier today I had a conversation with another bard who said, oh, people don't write songs like me. This has got everybody in it. so I do. Please don't clap, but you can join in. It takes a certain skill to do what we do. No matter what I ought to do, I see you. You woke me up with the power of sound. There's only one path that I'll go down. Maybe no one else can see so far. It's like a crazy feeling that I can't lose. No matter what I want to do, I can't choose. Whatever happens in this land, I do what I don't understand. So I'll raise my voice if you take up your guitar. If a fashion falls, we'll sing about it. If an ancestor calls, we'll sing about it. The road can twist, life can go wrong, but you and I could be the repertory song. If there's no effect, we'll sing about it. If Kale gets wrecked, we'll sing about it. That's the way I deal with everything, 'cause you make me sing. Hey, yeah, you make me sing. I guess it isn't something that I've thought through. Like young Mad Highlands fate, I would transport you. Anything could happen when we played in the Lions. Won't you grant me a lifetime alliance? It's so much easier to sing than say aye, 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 aye. In the waltz we could sing the song the hammer sings, not a euphemism. You put a capo on my heart and you tune my strings too. Listen when the music starts. In Albion, the only hearts I want are yours and mine, so come and play. If our songs are too highbrow, we'll sing about it. If Cossack lifts an eyebrow, we'll sing about it. If Leora asks Cara Doc to dance, we can make the whole Bards Guild rock. If friends die and someone hit it, we'll sing about it. I'll be stabbed with guys who did it, we'll sing about it. I can only deal with everything, 'cause you make me sing. You make me sing. So let's play through the night in every faction's garden, till Twig Spitter smacks us up for unsanctioned barding. Oh, you and I could sing to make this egg shake. Well, ask him takes Brigger to see the Black Lake. We'll sing for the Skip and the Bears, 'cause they party hard. We could play in the Tarantulas where bards are banned, but we might have to leg it, so let's run hand in hand. Oh, I don't want to give you the wrong impression, but we'd only ever fight over chord progression. Come give me my guitar and call the bard. So if Bastion has hysterics, we'll sing about it. If Thea punches ferrets, we'll sing about it. If the unliving try to capture you, Saturn knows what he can do. If magic gets habitual, we'll sing about it. If there's vapors in my ritual, sing about it. I can only deal with everything, 'cause you make me sing. You make me sing and play in this bardic way that I don't understand. How you inspire me like fire, we could blaze across this land. Story and song, how could we go wrong? Think what we could do. It's all true for you. So you could sing me to freedom if the enemy has me, playing musters while Stavros shouts for your ass. We could play while only the gods are listening. If Hakim has kids, we'll sing at their christening. I'll write you a song in praise of every ancestor. We would be more popular than Lester the Jester. You'd never play in notes that were dull or aimless, and we'd win more competitions than all most famous. If Reagan's ears twitched, I'll sing about it. If Granny gets lynched, I'll sing about it. And the dragons or the jackals or the unicorns, we'll even sing a chorus for the Viper Dawn. So I'm not at your side, and I'll sing about it. Now I find I'm a bride. I'll sing about it. Did you understand? Did you even try? My heart could break, well it just might die. If your rights need a focus, we can sing about it. If you never even notice me, we'll sing about it. That's my way to deal with anything. 'Cause you make me sing. You make me sing. Oh, oh, you make me sing. Than that. But less singing. Thomas on the fiddle.
Oh, right, okay.
He's not on the fiddle, but he's on the fiddle.
Well, I might be.
We might
Yes, he is.
What?
No, just you.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what is he fiddling?
What am I fiddling? This thing. It's a bit rubbish, but you know. Right, I'm going to play some stuff. I've not really decided what. I've got a book. You, pick a page. So, I play the fiddle. It's usually a bit serious, more serious than these like goblin things. I'm reading you here. I'm playing that page. You're picking a different page. This page. Right, okay. Yeah, I'll be alright. Put it down as well. Okay. So,
Do your eyes closed.
4 strings are better than 6. I'm just putting that out there, all you guitarists. There's millions of you. We're a rarity. Maybe that's your rocker up might help. Okay. To throw it everywhere. Right, okay, what's he picked? He's picked a little song called Something I Can't Sing. Right. See you later, guys. I'm off.
All the way through that, Reagan was going.
See, babies love me, not goblins. You did it
Cat.
first.
Violin cats love you. So, to keep with the theme of 4 strings are better than 6, I'd like to introduce to you a young man that I've not seen up here before. He paid his subs, he came along, and he's got an amazing, amazing sign on his instrument. So, can we all welcome Sundaran on the ukulele? Can everyone make sure?
Personal favourite to sing on my ukulele, and I have been playing for about 2 years, so
Go for it, mate.
and watch the joy. Following Sundaran, we've got a lot of young bards tonight, and that is amazing to see. We really like in the guild and all over Drea, we like when young performers get up and have the confidence to perform. So put your hands together for the Lady Sapphire.
But she bailed at the last minute. So I'm doing a song with Strawberry instead, which is better. the place used to love. Is this place that I've been dreaming of? Oh, simple days, where have you gone? I'm getting tired and I need someone to rely on. So tell me when you can let me in. I'm getting old and I need somewhere to begin. And if you have a minute, why don't we talk about it somewhere only we know? This could be the end of everything. So why don't we go somewhere only we know? Somewhere only we know.
I'm really hoping that we see you up here again with Strawberry, or maybe with your sister, or maybe not, because she's big. So, they tell us in the dragon that good things come in threes. The goddess, Maiden Mother Crone, judges, Moira Hazel Reagan, Cornelius, Lucan, Obed, almost famous!
Hello! Right. Good. So, we're almost famous. We're from the Vipers. Hopefully most of you have heard of us. Good. If you haven't, we are called Almost Famous because they are Fae. I am not. Boom. Hence I am the almost in fame. So we've played quite a lot around the Drow over the years. We've played many of these competitions. We've played Twigfest and various things. And we've had a lot of fun. But we're calling it a day.
It's over. Quiet up. The reason why we're going to call it a day will become very evident during this song. This is our swan song.
No.
No, it is. After this,
No.
we will be no more Almost Famous.
If there's anything I have to do with it, then there will be.
Oh, and 18 strings are better than 4.
We've done quite a lot in there. We've all three of us got very, very busy lately and we can't do it anymore. So this is going to be our last ever bar stomp, probably our last ever performance. But anyway, there you go.
So sorry, but yeah.
Anyway, we're famous for writing songs about famous people in the Drea. We wrote a song about Lord Zoroaster. We wrote a song about Lord Aeneas. Sadly they're dead. We wrote a song about Lord Stavros. And we wrote a song about Twig Spitter himself.
They're alive still.
They're still alive.
For now.
So I thought we would write a song about some people more famous than any of them.
More famous?
More famous than any of them. We've written a song about ourselves.
Let's go. Let's go.
famous, though that's not strictly true. 'Cause now we're actually famous, and it's all thanks to you. But anyone we write about, well, they all seem to die. So it looks like this will be our final goodbye. Been round the Drea, playing wherever we can, from the soaking wet Southlands to the sewers of Milan. Wrote songs of Zoroaster, Lord Stavros and Twig, but of Rockney, Lord Aeneas, well, of that one we're sick, 'cause we've heard it sung over and over again. So we beg you, Drea, will you please let it end? It wasn't that good anyway.
True.
Lester, Jester, he's our arch nemesis. Twig Splitter's retired, so we're happy of this. But there's a poor purple demon whose songs make us cry, 'cause he's so flippin' good, we wish that he would die. Murasaki! Giving his name to the Scouts Guild, pay 20 tals. We're almost famous, though that's not strictly true. 'Cause we're actually famous, now it's all thanks to you, and you, and you. And we look at ourselves through rose-tinted glass, though it's hard to see clearly with your head up your arse. Together we're brilliant, but solo we're crap. The musicians, not bards, let us clarify that. Obed can strum and Cornelius can pluck.
Lucan can't play anything, but he's really good for a
Laugh, that is what we will make you all do. And if you laugh hard enough, I'll crack out my kazoo. Because we're good at these jokes. Cornelius fine mandolin, but we don't really need his apparatus or him. Obed's tentacle prongs make his graceful notes sweep. A towering tentacled minstrel, he's lord of the deep.
Throat, that is where you will find him. Almost famous, he was the average form.
But our ethnic diversity. We're almost famous, though that's not strictly true. Now we're actually famous, and it's all thanks to you, and you, and you. And we look at ourselves through rose-tinted glass, though it's hard to see clearly with your head up your arse.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3.
clap.
when today goes down in history as the day that Almost Famous performed their final, we will all be able to say, we were there. I can only think of one person who is not a singer normally, but tonight has chosen to sing, who has the thorns to follow that. And I'm not sure I've got enough vocalization going on here, but I would like you to welcome the fantastic stylings of Mr. Amaretto Sowers.
Put on my performing hat.
Performing hat.
Better. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, Moira's pretty close, but my name is actually Amaretto Sowers. However, tonight, I'm not alone. So I am proud to introduce to you Amaretto Sowers and the Sugar Rush. Now, I'm an honest kender. I would not dare bribe the judges at all. As you can all see, there is no money changing hands. Honestly, if you look at me, so,
Well, I'll have them then.
right,
Fine.
Sugar Rush.
As always.
Instruments at the ready.
What? Which one?
Got my PA.
Doesn't work. What have I done? It's not working.
So, I'm Amaretto, you know. So let's get on with the show. I'm the cutest voice mage in the place. But when my circle is filled, I'll show her I'm the real deal. When I hurl a mage bolt at your face. Now Coca-Cola's my niece, her hugs to garner world peace. But she doesn't want all that fame. The greatest shot in the egg, for mercy tigers to beg. But to her it's all a game. You say these candles can scare the living heck out of me. But I could care less because they're my family. So brighten your clothes and strike your comedy pose. And you get a fun just like me. I've been queen as a king, and it's a curious thing, as a memory may be impaired. But Disney's awfully fun, and deadly with a nice fun. So if you cross her, you best be prepared. Now Cousin Linda's, of course, is such a magical source. If summoning is your game, without a weapon in hand, you ruin all of your plans by getting inside of your brain. You say these candles can scare the living heck out of me, but I could care less because they're my family. So brighten your clothes and strike a comedy pose, and you get have fun just like me. My father Brighton is a jerk, he made me do his homework while he's playing the alchemy geek. I thought that's not very fair, so kinda sit in this chair and by my power command you to sleep. Because these candles can scare the living heck out of me, but I could care less because they're my family. So brighten your clothes and strike a comedy pose, and you could have fun just like me. Instrumental! You say these chemicals get the living heck out of me, but I can't care less because they're my family. So brighten your clothes, the comedy pose, and you could have fun just like me. You say these chemicals get the living heck out of me, but I can care less because
they're my family. So brighten your clothes like a comedy boat, and you could have fun just as me. You say these chemicals scare the living heck out of me, but I couldn't care less because they're my family. So brighten your clothes and strike a comedy pose, and you could have fun just like me.
I worry that Amaretto and Sugar Rush have just put themselves on Granny and the Boons hit list.
Wow.
Good.
Cultural appropriation.
So, the next act has been mentioned tonight twice. Twice. The second time they were slightly wrong. Not actually a demon, but never let facts get in the way of a good song. I don't. Can you please welcome to the stage the greatest musical instrument on the earth, Daimon Isaki.
All right, everyone.
He's got a guitar in that back. And horns on his
Give me a minute. I usually have the voice of an ancestral, but I've been a little bit too busy recently, you know, doing rites and awakening people. I'm a little bit croaky today, so you have to imagine in your minds I sing a lot better than I do.
17 harmonicas.
You can talk amongst you. I'm not going to use all of them in this episode.
He is going to use all 43 capos though, so he doesn't have to change his finger position on the fretboard.
That I would like to see.
Out of all of the things I'm quite good at, there's one of them I'm not particularly good at all. I like to think I am, but I'm actually quite terrible at fighting. I know. Who'd have thought? This is a song about, it's called I Fought an Orc and the Orc Won. One moment. I have to use my bardic aid.
You've got bardic aids? Is it catchy?
Find your nearest surgeon. Sword in the hot sun, I fought an orc and the orc won. I fought an orc and the orc won. I needed money but I had none, so I fought an orc won, the orc won. I fought an orc won, the orc won. I never knew he was immune to charms, I guess my race is run. Strike the harm. I fought an orc and the orc won. 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 His eyes are red, are full of hate. I fought an orc and the orc won. I fought an This song is an entire fabrication all the way through, I apologise. It's not really how it went at all, so apologise for the ruse. It really went a little bit like this.
He thought I was weak because I'm purple. I fought no gun. I won. I fought no gun. I won. I dragged him down to the ritual circle. I fought no gun. I won. I fought no gun. I won. I knocked him out in all locations. I guess his race is run. Alcohol is his final destination.
Which is something I didn't actually think you could do. Did you just say that you could regenerate, Dime?
Yes.
Right, don't place in second. Can't read Reagan's writing, but I'm going to hope that the next act is called Brixnius. Awesome. He's going to sing for us.
So, I have been advised in advance that anyone of a sensitive religious disposition should probably leave the tent. This song is the unofficial Norscan anthem. And I would hope that all true-born Norscan men and women will join in with me in the final chorus. And if you don't have the good fortune to be Norscan true-born, or a man or a woman, then I hope you join in as an ordinary mark of simple, decent respect. This song begins with, I think, typical Norscan tact and diplomacy. I suppose you can't really help it. You're just no good heathen scum. And all your beliefs are just a load of superstition that you learn from your balmy old mum. You think you see it all so clearly. You think you've got it all worked out. But all your religion's just a load of mumbo jumbo. Cause Asgard's what it's about. We got Lord gods, we got war gods, we got knock you down to the floor gods. And all you got is a bunch of Nancy boys. Cause my God's better than your God. And my God's better than yours. And my God's coming round your God's heaven to show your God what for. And my God does better rituals. And my God gives better spells. And my God doesn't like hanging out with your God, cause your God smells. Some of you worship the sunrise and get your kicks from hugging trees. But you're just a bunch of hippie-soaked dodgers in tie-dyed curtains and fleas. Some people's gods have got feathers. Some people's gods have got fur. The Norscan gods are all proper shaped people, not food that you have to call sir. We got law gods, we got war gods, we got knock you down to the floor gods. And all you've got is a bunch of Nancy boys. Cause my God's better than your God. And my God's better than yours. And my God's coming round your God's heaven to show your God what for. And my God does better rituals. And my God gives better spells. And my God doesn't like hanging out with your God, cause your God smells.
asking you to worshipping a spider. We said to keep the temple clear of flies. And who wants to pray to a tree women all the full blokes that wait all their lives? We got a bloke with a bloody great hammer. We got a bloke with a bloody great spear. And when we've died, we get a free ride from a hot chicken combat clear. We got war gods, we got war gods, we got knock you down to the floor gods. And all you got is a bunch of Nancy boys. 'Cause my God's better than your God, and my God's bigger than yours. And my God's coming round your God's heaven to show your God what for. 'Cause my God does better rituals, and my God gives better spells. And my God doesn't like hanging out with your God, 'cause your God smells.
Well done, Christmas. That was massively offensive. Can we just have a big hand for the two elderly gentlemen who picked up the tune really well there?
Elderly gentlemen.
Sorry, Uncle Lester. We have now got the... Very good writing. We've got Laszlo from the Jackals with a story.
Thank you very much. Pooh boy. Tough one to follow. Thank you very much. Slight change of mood here now, so I'd like to take you back many, many hundreds of years to the time when the legions of the Empire rolled across the Heartlands. The story I'm going to tell you, though, I think is very relevant today, and I'm glad to see there are so many young people in the audience who will take away a very, very valuable lesson from this. But remember, the children you see around you are the guild and faction leaders of the future. So respect them, because one day they'll be telling you what to do. This begins in the land somewhere between Cimria and Albion, where no one's too sure exactly where it is. In those days, as it is now, a very, very wild place. Not many people lived there for good reason, not many humans anyway. But this was the land that was claimed by the Fae of the forest and of mountain. And as humans fled from the Imperial advance, they came into these wild places, looking for somewhere to settle, looking for somewhere to call home, to regroup, as they planned how to strike back against those who had taken their lands. One such group of homesteaders, they found a place they decided to settle in. They built their homes, they cut down trees, bringing just a little touch of civilization maybe to this wild place. And then the next day, standing there with a look of malevolent fury upon his face, a most strange figure. Only about a foot, maybe 2 tall. His body, bright emerald green like Granny's hair. He was Fae, occult and eldritch. He had nasty pointy teeth. And you could tell that he was male. There were bits dangling underneath. Humans, leave this place. Leave it now, never come back. This is not your realm. But where were these people to go? Their homes had been taken by the Empire. And so, they resolved to fight. Humans against the Fae. They went, though, for wisdom and lore, high up into the mountains where the witches lived. Scholars, knowers of dark and terrible secrets, they turned to the witches of the high mountains and asked, how should we fight the Fae? And the witches told them the secret. Iron spikes. When you see them dance, hammer the iron into the ground. When you see them cross into your lands, stick up iron posts in a fence that they will not then cross.
when they come at you with their weapons, hit them with the iron spikes. And so, war began. Now the thing about war was, though, it became a war of attrition. The Fae would steal in the dead of night, take humans' livestock, burn their crops, and when the humans caught the Fae, they would stake them on the iron spikes and leave this dread fence of Fae bodies around their lands. Bitterness and hatred and envy consumed all. And that is the terrible thing about bitterness, hatred. Once you let it take you over, there is no fun, there is no enjoyment in your life. All you can do is hate. All you can concentrate on is what those you hate might be doing at this moment behind your back. There is no joy, not even in victory. But still, though, what was to come was worse. For one day, the humans woke up to see running through their land a road, straight as an arrow, cutting up deep into the wilderness. And on the other side of the road, shocked by this sudden development overnight, they saw that little emerald homunculus, not even having the time to get his clothes on that morning, waving his spear and saying, "Help, help, help, get over here!" And so they rushed across and were flattened by the 18th Legion. Take away from this what you will. Some of you may say that this is a lesson to all of us, that we must bury our differences and stand firm against outside threats. But I think there is a more practical thing to remember here, which is that you should never cross the road when the little green man is flashing. Good night.
There'll be a queue lining up to beat the heck out of Laszlo at the end of this. It's been mentioned this evening that good things come in threes. We've been through all of those things. Tonight, I'm privileged and slightly bewildered to have to let you know that the bricks are here. You've seen two of them already, trying to get in on the act. They have their third with them. So please put your hands together for Norska's first boy band, the Bricks.
Can't remember any of the words of the song.
Sorry, we only wrote this.
For the Bricks, this is totally Cassius.
Really?
This is how
Hello, I'm Cassius.
Hi, Cassius!
Like you told me to do this.
Oh, good start.
I'm going to sit down.
Their instruments are antique.
This is an epic song with a cast of thousands. We were somewhat limited in budget, so not the most important one.
Cassius.
Cassius?
Yeah! Am I getting away with this?
Yes.
Yeah, you're getting away with it. Yeah.
Excellent.
This is a true story. Not one of those stories that we're going to learn from, that we saw in like recent entertainment at all. Not copyright infringing. It's a tale of when I was a young scald, before I had laurels to rest on, living in the frozen wastes of Winterland. There was a big problem north of the fence. An evil necromancer called the White King and his army of night walkers. I was sent up to deal with this, armed only with my wit, my guitar, and Pickles, my trusty poodle.
Okay, don't shake my ass.
But the battle didn't go that well. The White King's army gave us hell. He turned and raised all those who fell in the snow and freezing cold. I ran away, and lived to fight another day with the necromancer and his vast array, which I am the sea to.
So this is a list song. It's a test of memory. We want you all to listen carefully and sing along later. This is the list of foes that we fought, that I fought.
There was a necromantic
White King.
and a necromancer's dog.
Pickles! Pickles, what has he done to you?
Oh no! No pickles!
So I retreated back south of the fence. Back down to my home in Winterland. And I thought what I could do with, what I need for defeating the White King is if we had some talented bards, maybe they could sing him to death. So we went to the Bards Guild and we said, can we have some talented bards? And they didn't know what we were talking about.
Sass points.
Sass.
Maximum sass. So this is what we got instead. 40
vegan paladins. The White King had cheese dog. A dozen seasick buccaneers. I found puking in a trough. But the battle didn't go that well. The White King's army gave us hell. He turned and raised all those who fell. The snow and freezing fog. I ran away, and I lived to fight another day from the necromancer and his vast array, which I don't proceed to love.
Hope you remember from last time. There was 40 vegan paladins. A dozen seasick buccaneers.
And infected enemies.
The necromantic White King.
And the necromancer.
Pickles! Pickles, it's me! It's me! No, in the face! So I retreated once again south of the fence, back to Winterland. And waiting there for me was an army of 1,000 highly trained alpine drow ninjas.
Yay! The best kind!
But they were drow, so I stabbed them up.
Yay!
And instead, we found
a lonely, lovesick giantess who was looking for some action. A band of flat broke leprechauns who thought they'd find the crack fun. But the battle didn't go that well. The White King's army gave us hell. He turned and raised all those who fell in the snow and freezing fog. I ran
away.
I lived to fight another day from the necromancer and his vast array, which I'll now proceed to know.
You ready? A lonely love. Are we ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go on.
Okay, let's go. A lonely lovesick giantess. What? You weren't ready?
I didn't hear you.
A lonely lovesick giantess.
With back boots and a birthday dress.
A band of flat broke leprechauns.
Gold on tender porn.
40 vegan paladins.
Who love to cram the salad in.
A dozen seasick buccaneers.
With badly infected inner ears.
The necromantic White King.
And the necromancer.
No! No! Pickles! No! I ran away from Pickles again. My heart wrenched by seeing my beautiful companion, so like this. When I returned to Winterland, I realised that what we really needed was a dragon.
Oh yeah.
But the nearest dragon was 2,000 miles away. It would never have got there in time. It's completely unrealistic.
Yes, it would.
Also, we didn't have the effects budget. So scraping the barrel somewhat, this is what I found.
8 whole dancing minotaurs. Have beef with the White King. 4 short-sighted unicorns who couldn't see what they were signing. But the battle didn't go that well. The White King's army gave us hell. He turned and raised all those who fell in the snow and feasted fog. I ran away. I lived to fight another day from the necromancer and his vast array, which I'll now proceed to know. Everybody ready?
Everybody ready? Am I ready? I don't know. Right. There's 8 pole dancing minotaurs.
With others red from friction swords.
4 short-sighted unicorns.
Who could barely see beyond their horns.
A lonely lovesick giantess.
With back boots and a bulging dress.
A band of flat broke leprechauns.
Who blew their gold on Kender Pond.
4 score paladins
who love to cram the salad in.
A dozen seasick buccaneers
With bag-infected earrings and the necromantic Viking and the necromancer's dog.
Why do you do this? So I retreated back south of the fence, back to my hovel in Winterland. And I had no allies left to choose from, and it was then that I saw it.
Yeah, you did.
Pickle's favourite chew toy. I thought if I could go back north of the fence, if I could hand that to him, he would know that it was me. He would know that we were friends. He would turn to my side and maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. Pickles! Pickles, hit my... Oh, Pickles! Oh, he's a good job. He's a good job. He's a good job. So Pickles turned and gave them hell. The White King's army finally fell. We rode back home to Winterland. And here, boys and girls, is what Pickles killed. 8 pole dancing minotaurs
With banners red from friction swords,
4 short-sighted unicorns
who could barely see beyond their horns.
A lonely lovesick giantess
With backwards and a bulging dress,
a band of flat-broke leprechauns
who blew their gold on tender porn.
4 vegan paladins
Who love to cram the salad in.
A dozen seasick buccaneers
With bag-infected earrings.
The necromantic White King Pickles.
You're a good dog.
Been blessed by 2 judges with tiny bladders. We're going to have to take a break since Hazel and Reagan have had to race to the loo because people keep bribing them with drinks. So we can all say that we were here when Almost Famous decided to split up.
It's true.
And we were all here when the Bricks got back together.
Yay! So first entertainers competition, be gentle.
I'm wondering whether we'll see the super group of Almost Bricks.
Yes. You've sort of already seen Almost Bricks.
There. Lester, do you want to do some improv while the girls are in the bathroom?
Improv?
I don't know. Tweet.
Oh, I got there.
Somebody do something while the girls are not
Honestly, this is terrible for me. This is genuinely terrible for me because those of you that have seen me perform before, you know, like, I like to go on a big rant about how I got stitched up by the dragon and made to be the Grand Master of the Bard Guild. Now, that's all well and good, and I love being the best at something. I'm the best when it comes to ritual magic. There's no doubt, there's no argument. I am by far the best at ritual magic. I'm a pretty sound storyteller. I've won the Bards contest, this very entertainers contest, as many times as Lester.
Shut up!
I've won this as many times as Almost Famous.
Shut up!
I really am a hack. I'm a terrible bard. Right, I play the ukulele. I've seen a child half my height. I was going to say half my age, but I'm old. That would have been a lie. Half my height I've seen who can play better than me. Right, occasionally I sing. I've just seen my uncle wearing a stupid hat singing better than me. Right. I'm a storyteller. I've seen better stories than I tell. This is embarrassing, but seeing as there's time and I do love talking, I'm going to tell a story. Okay, so So, I'm going to tell a story and I'm going to give you a choice because I've got one new one that I've told a couple of times. I've got a story with a moral.
No, we don't like that.
I've got a story that doesn't start once upon a time. And I've got a story set in the freezing wastes of Norska.
New story.
Guys, what? What would you like?
New story.
Would you like a story with a moral?
No, morals are shit.
Okay, no morals.
Down with that sort
I
of
get
thing.
it. This audience has no morals. I've got it, right. Okay, would you like a story that doesn't start once upon a time? Okay, so we've got some purists. Okay, I understand. Would you like a story set in the freezing wastes of Norska? Okay. Now this is a true story. I've never told a story that wasn't true. Occasionally, well, I've never told a story that I didn't later make true. So, but this one, absolutely true. And this story concerns my uncle. Now, for those of you that saw the bricks just now, you know, the ones with your eyes open that haven't fallen asleep yet, my uncle is quite a famous bard. My uncle goes by the name of Lester the Jester. Years ago, when Lester was still alive. Am I talking to myself? Hang on, let me start again. Years ago, when Lester was still alive, he wandered from tavern to tavern to tavern, desperately trying to find one that hadn't banned him yet. For most of the taverns in Norska had heard him play. Most of the taverns in Norska had heard him sing. And most of the taverns of Norska would no longer let him in. So he trudged, a poor bard, from one tavern door that slammed shut to another that slammed shut, from one angry innkeeper to another angry innkeeper. He trudged through the snow, from longhouse to longhouse, from tavern to tavern. The snow fell. It was cold, dark. Lester's footsteps dragged through the white, crisp snow. And in the distance, he saw a longhouse he had not seen before. In all of his journeys, a tavern he had not been in. I know, Bricks, this is the bit of the story no one believes. It was a tavern Lester had never been in. The door stood open. Through the open door, he could see the hearth. He could see the fire burn. He could see the warmth spill out across the floor. He heard laughter inside. Exactly like that. He heard laughter inside and he made his way towards the door. When he reached the door, the tavern was empty, apart from one man sat by the... No, not just one man. One man and two ravens. Sat next to the fire, sat being looked down on by two ravens, was one giant man with one giant beard and one giant eye patch covering one eye. The man lifted his giant tankard from the table, drained it dry and put it down, and at this point Lester realised that the tankard, as he put it down, began to fill itself up. Imagine that. Imagine that. Bears. Imagine that wolves. Imagine that bards. A tankard of ale that refills itself when you are finished. Lester Leicester was drawn away from the glory of this giant man with his 2 ravens and his giant eye patch over one eye. All he focused on was the ale. The ale that filled itself. It smelled sweet. The ale of the ancestors. The large man drained the tankard again and slammed it down again. It filled up. And then the giant man with the giant beard and the 2 ravens and the giant eye patch noticed Leicester. He saw him staring. "What do you want, little mortal?" And Leicester said, "I have been walking so far, from tavern to tavern, from closed door to closed door, to angry innkeeper to angry innkeeper, and I just wish to sup some of your ale." Now, for those of you that were paying attention, the man with the massive beard and the massive chin and the massive eye patch and the 2 ravens was Odin One Eye. He said to Leicester, Why, little Loki worshipper, would I allow you to drink of the nectar of the ancestors? Why would I allow you my mead, my ale? You have nothing I want. I've heard your songs. There's a reason you're banned from every bar. And Leicester said, I know I'm a terrible hack. I can't play the guitar. I'm constantly out of tune when I sing. My rhymes are tortured at best. And really, I'm just a knobgag riding on Casimir's coattails. But Odin One Eye, like you, I love a game. So a gamble, a bet. I will have your tankard. I will have your tankard, and if I have your tankard, by the end of this night, I will have your ale. Odin laughed. That sort of laugh that only a big smug git like Odin can laugh. He said, okay, tiny mortal, I will give you 3 chances to outwit me. 3 chances to beat me at something. But everything I do, I am better than you. Now, Leicester stood himself up, straightened that stupid hat, drew himself to his full Baidic height of something I assume to be about 4'3", and he told a tale. He told a tale of how sad it is when the winds blow through the trees. And Odin felt sadness. He told a tale of love. And Odin's heart swelled in his breast. He told a tale of tears and loss, and Odin's one eye filled and wept. He told a story so perfect, so beautiful, so heartrending, that he sat back in a chair and waited. And it was Odin's turn. Odin again drained his tankard, put it down, it refilled, and Odin told a better story. It was inconceivable. It was inconceivable. The story was so good and Odin's was better. He only had 2 more chances. To be honest, for a man as lacking in skill as Leicester, there wasn't a lot more he could do. So he thought back to an old game that in no way infringes any copyright, in which you get blocks and stack them up by 3, by 3, by 3, by 3, by 3. An old Norscan game. Now, exactly. Now, when he was a child and he had been practicing his guitar, Leicester's fingers had grown nimble. As a man, he was a good tactician. Not great, because really Leicester's not great at anything. But he was good. Good enough, he thought. The first move went smoothly. Leicester's dexterous fingers pushing out a piece, picking it up and placing it on top of the tower. Odin, his massive fingers seemed to be no obstacle. He too tore a piece from the tower and placed it on the top. Each move of Leicester's was perfection. Dexterous, nimble, tactically brilliant. And then, the last piece, the piece that surely if Odin took, it would make it fall. No sense of reality could change that. No magician in the world, no ritual magic. And Odin took the last piece from the tower. The tower did not fall. He placed the piece on top of the tower and looked at Leicester. Leicester cringed. He had to make a move, but there was no way. The tower wouldn't stand up. There was nothing supporting it. So he put his hand on the tower and it crumbled, fell down. Odin laughed, a big, hearty laugh. The ravens cawed. They were enjoying the spectacle. You've got one more chance, little man. One more chance, little man, he said as he lifted his tankard. One chance to best me. Make it good. And as he was about to drink, Leicester looked at him and went, bet you can't build that tower as quick as I did. Odin was shocked, appalled, angry. He looked at the tower, he looked at Leicester, he looked at his hands, and then he said, hold my drink.
Not sure what Leicester said, but it apparently worked for the audience. I want to find out if the rest of the acts are here. We only have 5 acts left. We've had a lot of entrants to this competition. Have we got Topples, Holly Hawks, Eri, Lazarus? We've got everybody. And Sina. We have got everybody. Right. Can we call to the stage Eri?
My name is Erin and I'm from the heart. I'm going to sing you a song which I wrote. It's called The Bard's Decision.
I've got a problem, it's one I can't ignore. I have to talk about it, I can't take it anymore. Now I'm a traveling bard, to sing music is my thing. But when I'm put on the spot, I don't know what to sing. Perhaps I'll sing a happy song to fill you full of joy. Once upon an evening, a girl met the boy. They danced beneath the sunset, the crystal sky above, and that was the beginning of everlasting love. I could sing a tragedy, a very woeful tale. 2 armies went to battle, clouds full of mail. They fought for many hours, till the field was soaked with red. One day was over, but everyone was dead. Or perhaps another song, I think you know the one. But it'll have to wait until the little rivers are gone. The story of a lady meeting a sailor at the dock. After so many months apart, she really missed his charming personality. Now here I am in front of you, and I'm not going to hide. After I thought about it, then I still couldn't decide. In the end, I've chosen to sing the song for you. About a bard we never can decide just what to do.
from the Tarantulas. I didn't actually know they allowed bards in the Tarantulas. Put your hands together for Chuckles. Yes. A little bit of explanation before I launch into the song. I promise I'll keep it quick because I know. So, the Tarantulas do actually have an ancestor of singing. Her name is Illustre, and she is the sister of Lolth, who is the head of our pantheon. Now, worship of her is not tolerated in the Underdark because some drow believe that she betrayed Lolth and left him behind. What actually happened was that the paladins went, anyone who doesn't worship Lolth is dead. Now, Illustre loved Lolth in her original form, Ethereal, who was her sister. She was the lighter aspect of Lolth, shall we say. It does exist, shock horror. And so worship of her has not been tolerated. However, we have learned the hard way, as I'm sure the entire of Idrea has, that to empower your main ancestor, you must empower all. Without Illustre as part of the pantheon, Lolth will fall. So they have reluctantly agreed to let me sing in camp as long as I'm not near the Valkyrettes. So, this is my song to illustrate. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of that tarantula game. Too late to hide my secret. Illustre said, let your voice ring. It's time to trust ancestor. Close my eyes and sing. It's time to try defying silence. I think I'll try defying silence. They'll never bring me down. And I'm through accepting limits, 'cause the Valkyrie says they're so. Some laws I cannot change, but till I try, I'll never know. Too long I've been afraid for singing, my life will be lost. But now to not sing is much too higher cost. I think I'll try defying silence. I think I'll try defying silence. They'll never bring me down. I heard them say, hey everyone, there goes that fae, whose faction won't ever let her sing. Well, maybe now they'll let her, if I trust in my ancestor. There's no fight I cannot win with her, and I defying silence. I think I'll try defying silence. They'll never bring me down. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to sing. And if I'm singing solo, at least I'm singing free. To those who'd mute me, take this message back from me. Tell them how I am defying silence. I think I'll try defying silence. They'll never bring me down. And nobody in Underdark, no wicked drow with angry bark, is ever gonna stop me now. We only actually have 2 people left. Sina has had to go and feed the small children. I'm not sure what she's feeding them to. Hopefully not a dragon. Saw one of those last night. Speaking of dragons, can I call to the stage Holly Hawks, Bard of the Dragons. So you can have a nice song about how dreadfully tatty or you can have a nice story about how dreadfully tatty the dragons are, or you can have a very bawdy brownie song. What do you want?
Bawdy brownie!
Bawdy brownie song! Bawdy brownie song!
Okay, if your ears turn bluer than my hair by the end of this, I apologise, and then you can just feed me full of beer and I will die. Is it suitable for smalls? Is it suitable for smalls? We have lots of small people. That's why I was checking. Do you swear? No swearing. You'll be fine. A little bit of innuendo. That's fine. That's fine. We like a lot of innuendo. That's fine. You might hear the tune, and as you hear it, you are more than welcome to join me in the chorus along. So, I've been a muck diver for many a year, and I've spent all my money on muck diving gear. The goggles, the snorkel, the muck diving tank, and when I'm not diving, I'm having a, and it's no name, never. Right up her skirt, no name, never, no more. Shall I be a muck diver? No, never, no more. I went to a house I used to frequent. It sure beats the hell out of paying the rent. I asked for a photo, she answered me nay. Not till you wash that thing at least for a day, and it's no way, never. Right up her skirt, no way, never, no more. Shall I be a muck diver? No, never, no more. I took from my pocket 10 shillings so bright, and the landlady's legs open wide with delight. We've got young uns and old uns and know so much more. And if you want north, then just try that last store, and it's no, nay, never. Right up her skirt, no, nay, never, no more. Shall I be a muck diver and screw that last door? Sad verse. I went to me father, confess what I'd done. Me dad started shouting and called for me mum. I fled from his presence, I ran out in fright, and I now live in Kimria where I enough die all night, and it's no, never. Right up her skirt, no, never, no more. Shall I be a muck diver forever and more? Shall I be a muck diver forever and more?
Use your words, Moira. Words.
Start with "and next."
I wouldn't have understood that yesterday.
She's a married woman now.
Can Lazarus come up and like rescue the situation, please?
I feel really bad now. Everyone's singing such happy songs, and I'm going to be singing a lament. But it is for the people who I lost this event, so it's kind of appropriate, I suppose. So let's try the ghost, I suppose. I am going away for a while, but I'll be back, don't try and follow me. 'Cause I'll return as soon as possible. You see, I'm trying to find my place, but it might not be here where I feel safe. 'Cause we all learn to make mistakes and run from them, with no direction. We'll run from them, with no conviction. 'Cause I'm just one of those ghosts that's traveling endlessly. I don't need no road. In fact, they follow me, and we just go in circles. But now I'm told that this is life, and pain is just a simple compromise. We can get what we want out of it, with someone clear to classify our broken hearts and twisted minds, so I can find someone to rely on and run to them, full speed ahead. Oh, you are not useless. We are just misguided ghosts, traveling endlessly, the ones we trusted the most. They pushed us far away, but there's no one road. We should not be the same. I'm just a ghost, and still they echo me, and we just go in circles.
One thing you can say about the three judges tonight is we are efficient. Because we've been adding up as we go, and we've been scoring as we go. None of this nonsense at the end about, oh God, we need like 20 minutes to sit under a table and get drunk and decide who's getting what. So,
That's the only way to mark. That's how I feel.
if people come to the Bards Guild tomorrow to receive their prizes, because we haven't put everything together yet, and we need to draw money out, because some of the prizes are money. So, the honourable mentions, which will be given money to, Sapphire, Sundaran, Ben and the Volscums. Taglio's Memorial Prize, which will also be drawn out of the Bards Guild Bank, will go to the Bricks. The One to Watcher Prize, which is the person who will receive tutoring from the Guild, is the person whose voice has astonished us tonight, actually. We all just sat there and went, oh, I've got chills. Lazarus. The third prize this evening goes to a lady with an amazing voice. Hopefully her voice will be stronger than anyone who tries to draw her towards them. I believe she isn't here, she's gone off somewhere, but can we have a big hand for Sienna? The Amulet of Regeneration goes to a young man who has taught us tonight about numbers of strings and has frightened Reagan because her paws don't move as fast as his. Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. The Master Entertainer 1117 will probably surprise nobody, but hopefully it should teach you all to be nicer in future to these poor, poor creatures. Please put your hands together for Granny and the Boo!
What are you going to sing? I don't know. What about the spawning pool? People need to know. We know which one. Okay. What are you going to...
Oh, that's for you.
Well done, Goblins.
Cool.
Yeah.
Goblins, I'm sure.
These girls have become beautiful.
Hey,
Are you like super dogs?
yeah, that's exactly what we are.
Well done, you were very good.
Are you going to play a good one? The same one.
ready for a while.
Sorry, guys, everybody. We heard earlier on from Grandmaster Twigspitter. This is Guildmaster Talrasha with an important announcement for bards.
If there are any bards here who are currently not sworn to the guild and wish to actually have that put onto their pattern, please see either myself or Twig after this. But without further ado,
Hey!
Granny and Boodoggle.
Moody! Woo you! Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so.
We're going to do one more. And as you may have noticed earlier, there's been some kazoo activity.
It has. True.
We're not happy with that. But we realise you may not know why. So we're going to sing you a song about goblin history.
There's a lesson in history and story and kazoo appropriation.
Left the come sit with me.
Bloody halflings. Long ago, when the egg was young, all the goblins gathered for a feast of fun. Slowly creatures shunned by the world and afraid of everything. But one had a plan that would change the state of the fate of the fledgling goblin nation. He would win the world from war and they would crown him king. King Kazoo. Now King Kazoo was a bright young thing, and he took all the tribes underneath his wing. He gave them courage, gave them hope for a brand new goblin dawn. So his army trained in the frozen plain, in the burning sand, in the pouring rain, and every goblin cheered at the sound of the High King's mighty horn. All rallied round at the sound of the High King's horn. King Kazoo, the bringer of the goblin dawn. So Kazoo led his army true, and they marched to the walls of an elven city there arrayed. The elves dismayed at the horde that shook the ground, and the king stepped forth and proclaimed aloud,
No more will the goblins be your slaves. We've had enough of your bullying ways, so we're gonna stab you all in the face. That'll teach you.
He was a very inspiring speechmaker. Elves ran around at the sound of the High King's horn. King Kazoo, the bringer of the goblin dawn.
So the goblins charged, but it didn't go well. The battle was short and mostly unremembered. It turns out Kazoo wasn't very good at war, so everyone was tragically and brutally dismembered.
So horrible. Charged to the depths of the sound of the High King. King Kazoo, a second-rate goblin spawn. So Kazoo was dead, but his legacy will remain with us for eternity. His holy horn, a reminder of the perils of goblin mediocrity, and its ancient objects.
Of great cultural significance,
Which is awarded to young goblin bards,
as a highly ceremonial gesture,
has been shamelessly stolen
and ruthlessly exploited
by an unscrupulous entertainer who's always dressed up like a jester. You're on this. And you, right, you. Giddy out, I heard, but it's remembered.